send out an email today for my email subscribers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This was kind of impromptu. Like, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know what time it was going to happen. And I didn't type up the email beforehand. So we are here now. But that's all right. We're going to get through happily. But I want to say hello, everybody that is here. My name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist, and I'm here to support you in understanding what is going on with our food industry and making the connections mentally, physically, emotionally to what we're doing to our body and how we are not prioritizing our health and we're not prioritizing ourselves. And so think about the fact that you want somebody to cater to you, especially for women. We want men that know how to cater to us, that know how to give us a space of being comfortable, and they know how to give us a space of, just being taken care of. And so you want somebody that can cater to you. You want to be able to cater to a partner that loves you and shows you that they love you. But think about what you're doing to your body currently. Are you showing your body the love that you would want somebody else to show you? Like, think about the way that you eat, the habits that you have, the things that you consume, the mindset that you have. Do you have the thought process that you need to be able to talk yourself out of a negative space? Do you know how to cater to yourself when you're feeling bad and you're having a hard day? Or are you that person that harps on yourself, that is negative to yourself, that sits there and tells yourself you're lazy and all these different things when you just need a rest day? So when you sit there and you think about and you take that in about the fact that maybe you do need a rest day, maybe you need to be softer to yourself and have a softer life, think about how you want somebody else to treat you. And think about what you're doing that is treating yourself negatively, because that's what you're going to attract. Think about it. You want somebody to sit there and be kind to you and caring, but all you attract are toxic people that are narcissists, that don't know how to take care of other people, that are very self-centered, that are negative. Think about what you're doing to yourself. Are you the same way? Are you negative? Do you cater to your thoughts and your ideas and your dreams? Do you cater to yourself when you say that you need to cleanse, you need to detox, you need to eat better? No, majority of you do not. And so that's not saying in a negative space. That's just for us to be realizing what we're doing, to come to the realization that we deserve better. You know you deserve better. You want better, because that's the reason why majority of society now is sitting here saying that they don't want to be with anybody and everybody. They don't want to be sitting here getting mistreated. They don't want to have a toxic relationship. They don't want to have these toxic men in their life. You don't want to have toxic women in your life. Think about what you're doing. Not saying that you are toxic or you have to have toxic traits in order for you to not be catering to yourself. It can be as simple as you sitting here every single day eating things that you don't know how to read the labels for. You sitting here every single day eating fried food thinking that that's supporting you. That's not catering to yourself. You sitting here every single day using Summer's Eve thinking that that's how you wash yourself. You're using all of these Dove bars and everything else. You do realize that's not catering to yourself, because you're putting toxins inside of your body. When you're using toxic products or eating foods that have additives and fillers which are toxic to your body, you do realize that's not catering to yourself. The first thing you have to do in order for somebody to show you love is to show yourself love. So how are you showing yourself love when you are making yourself toxic on the inside? And toxicity is slow poisoning. You are literally sitting there slowly poisoning yourself every single day with the foods that you were eating and the foods that you were consuming. Being toxic is not cute and it's not healthy. And we know this because society has made it a glorified thing now that if you have toxic traits, it's because you're protecting yourself. If you have toxic traits, it's because X, Y, and Z, and it's not really your fault. Or if you have toxic traits, you can hold on to that because that's a part of your personality. But we don't realize that toxicity is slowly poisoning you, and it's also slowly poisoning everyone around you. And let's cater that or think about and put that together to us catering ourselves. When you were sitting here slowly poisoning yourself, not catering to what you need, what your body needs, what your body is craving. Think about when you actually do start a family. You get a husband. You both have your toxic food, food habits and your product habits. Everything that you do, your lifestyle is toxic. Now you two produce children. You're producing children that are thriving in a toxic state. You are literally producing slow poisons generationally. But we don't think about it that way. We continuously keep putting children in a space that they don't need to be in because we don't even know how to take care of ourselves. You don't know how to cater to your own whims. You don't know how to cater to your own body. You don't know how to listen to your own body, because you don't even realize the fact that when you have illness inside of your body, when you have disease inside of your body, that is your body's way of telling you that the way that you've been treating it all of however long, all of your life, or maybe you've only been eating this way for some years or whatever else, your body is telling you this is not the way to go. This is your body saying, hey, you've been poisoning me for too long. We've been toxic for too long. So now I'm going to give you an illness or a disease. When you have the sniffles, when you have a fever, instead of you going and you sitting there thinking that you have to go take a medication, you need Benadryl, you need Advil and Tylenol, and you need all of these different things. I think I used to take like the Alka-Seltzer Plus. You're not sitting there and putting two and two together that you haven't been catering to your body enough for it to be able to be in a healthy state and to not be toxic. So you've sat there instead developed an illness. And you don't realize the fact that when you get in contact with any type of illness, whether it's what we had in 2020, if you have flu going on around you or whatever else is happening, you do realize that it cannot thrive unless it has something to feed off of inside of you. If you come in contact with any illness, any disease that is catchable through whatever, cough, air, whatever else, you do realize it cannot thrive inside of your body and manifest itself as illness unless you have something for it to feed off of. And it feeds off of inflammation and toxicity. So think about the fact that we're all sitting here, not all because I don't, but majority of us are sitting here feeding our body toxicity every single day, not knowing how to take care of our body, every single day, slowly poisoning ourselves. And you pass that on to children. You give birth to children. You come together with another person and mate. You come together and find your perfect one, the one that you're going to marry, you're going to be with for the rest of your life, because not everybody's getting married necessarily. And you sit there and you combine your toxic habits, and then you produce a child and you push that onto a child, thanks to the follow. All we're doing is raising generational toxicity. And it's deeper than just you having toxic traits. It's because you're not catering to yourself first before you worry about anything else, to realize, hey, I shouldn't be sitting here with high blood pressure and insulin resistance, or the symptoms of both, or symptoms of anything at the age that I am, let alone when there's nothing that should be thriving inside of my body if I'm eating correctly. But majority of us don't even understand that. If you're eating correctly and using food as your medicine, nothing will be able to thrive in that environment because you're not feeding toxicity. You're not feeding parasites. You're not feeding diseases. But when you're sitting here eating these terrible foods, these GMOs, and that includes GMO fruits and vegetables, not just GMO meat. There have been so many studies that have come out and they've talked about, and not only they've had a couple of US studies, but there's multiple studies that are from other countries that talk about the fact that when you eat GMOs, it produces a cell inside of your body that feeds cancer. It's outside of your normal cells. It's a foreign cell outside of cancer that feeds cancer. So now you have two toxic cells inside of your body. And if we really want to think about the fact that like how cancer has ramped up and how cancer is and where it's going, or where it's been going rather, because you see how bad it's getting. Think about what it's going to be like when they no longer say that it's feeding cancer, but now they've come out with something else that is a revamp of what cancer is. Now it's a super cancer. Just like they tried to say in 2020, we had the super disease that was going on. Think about that, because that's exactly where we're headed. If you really sit there and put two and two together, and I'm not sitting here as somebody who is just speaking out of the side of my neck. I have been analyzing since 2020 what they've been doing with GMOs. The Most High has given me the blessing of being released from the lifestyle that I was before, which was eating any kind of thing, being toxic on the inside, literally being over 200 pounds, could not get under 190, sitting here suffering, not knowing how I developed asthma, and nobody in my family has asthma. I grew away from that because I started to educate myself. I started to learn about the lifestyle that was going to support me. Instead, realize the fact that if you deserve better and you know that you deserve better and you want to cater to yourself, it looks like you're using food as your medicine. It looks like you knowing how to support your body. And majority of us do not know how to support our body. And we continuously give birth to children, make a new generation that don't know how to take care of their body. And it's time for us to change. We have to change because it's not getting any better. And like I said, think about the fact that if they are sitting there telling us that GMOs are not as safe as they tell us in the US, majority of what Europe, I think China has banned them. I know for sure Europe has banned so many different GMOs that we allow here. With the processed foods that we have and the produce and the meat. They're not allowing their people consume these things because they actually care about the people that they're feeding. The US does not. And we know that they don't care about us. Yet we keep listening to their rules, their society, their regulations. Instead of us taking a discerning thought and stepping back and going, now, why would you want me to have this? What is this going to do to my body? Is it going to help me or to harm me? How long have you been testing this? These are the questions that we need to ask, but we don't. And so now that I'm in the space of me being plant-based and living the lifestyle that I live, of being holistic and being careful with what I consume and the products that I use, and understanding what they're doing with these companies, and how all they do is, if they get sued, they just pay off the people that they sue, or they change their names, you'll start to realize there's a deeper agenda than people just saying like, oh, they're just out to get us. No, they're not just out to get you. They want to keep you consuming. They want to keep you sick, because at the end of the day, out to get you and make you leave this earth doesn't give them more money. What gives them more money is you sitting here thinking that you just absolutely love Oreos and Doritos and hot chips and Swedish fish and all these different snacks, not realizing that it's thrown off your chemical balance so much that you don't crave real food anymore. All you crave is processed food. And without that processed food, now you're hangry. Without that processed food, now you're sitting here having withdrawals like an addict, because that's what majority of y'all are. Y'all sitting here not realizing you're sugar addicted. And you're sitting here like an addict, fiending over the junk that they give you because it has thrown off your chemical balance. Instead of catering to yourself and giving yourself real whole food so that you crave the fruits and vegetables that you need in your life. So you're not sitting here craving dairy, which is full of additives that make you want to sit there and crave dairy and drink dairy, that are full of antibiotics. Because let's be honest, these animals are sick. They tell you that this, free range, grass-fed animals are the safer alternative, but you don't realize the fact that yes, they let the animal graze and they let them go in the grass and eat the grass because they're free range. But you don't realize the fact that they don't just feed these animals grass, because if they did, they wouldn't be big enough for them to be mass producing all of this meat from this one animal. But instead, yes, they're giving them different things inside of their food. Yes, they're sitting there putting soy products inside there, because they feed them soy plants, they feed them corn, and those two crops by themselves have been manufactured so much in a factory now that their majority, I think 95% or more of soy is GMO and 100% of corn is GMO. So think about the fact that the next time you're sitting there eating your free range, grass fed and all these different things, thanks to the follow, they're lying to you, because they don't just feed the animals grass. Yes, they're grass fed. Yeah, they're free range. Yeah, they can technically consider it as being organic because they raised an organic soybean crop from the ground. But at the same time, that organic soybean is still GMO, because there's no way for them to have soy crops as the way that they produce them massively without them using pesticides, because they have to sit there and it's a long process for the soy to grow, basically. And the only way that they can get it to be a faster process is for them to genetically modify it, because animals are going to eat the crops, the bugs are going to eat the crops, and they're not going to be as big as they need them to be for it to produce as much soy as they need. And so you sit there and you don't think or put any connections together about the fact that how are they feeding all of these animals if they're all grass fed? If they only have a certain amount of land on their land, however many acres that they have, because they could have hundreds of acres, but they also have all those cows of however many cows per acre, because I don't really remember off the top of my head. I know I have that in like my homesteading book, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Think about the fact that they have all of these cows that they produce, all of these cows that they slaughter every single year. How in the world are they all feeding off of the grass that we wouldn't have enough grass to produce? We wouldn't have enough grass for them to feed off of if they're all feeding to a full term on just grass. We have seasons where the grass doesn't grow. We have seasons where the grass is it's burnt up. Think about the fact that if you have 100 cows on this farm for however many, let's just say there's an acre per cow. I don't know how many acres you need for the cow, but let's just say each cow needs 1 acre, which I know that's not true. It has to be more. Every single cow is going to stay in their acre, and once they're done with the grass, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? It makes no sense. Like, you're really not putting the logic to it, and think about it. They don't have enough. When you're sitting there waiting for the grass to grow back, what are you going to do? Because when you go when you go to the farms, or when you drive past a farm, they're not sitting there on barren land like, well, I guess the cows are going to starve until we get more grass. No, the grass is full. They graze, but they're not having to sit there and depend on the grass and eat grass all day. They're giving these cows more than just grass. So yeah, they're grass fed, but they're giving them GMOs. They're giving them soy. They're giving them corn, and all corn is GMO. Over 90% of soy is GMO. There truly is no safe meat, and we have to release that. Maybe back in the day when our ancestors were eating it, maybe before then or whatever else. But today, what we need to be focusing on, because you're focusing on the past, when in reality, they're literally getting you and gypping you today, and they're gypping you already in the future before you're even there. You're not realizing that you're leading yourself to having cancer. You're leading yourself to be full of disease over some meat, when there are plenty of alternatives for you to be able to enjoy and still be able to get the flavorful food, the healthy meal that you enjoy. Or not the healthy, well, I mean, obviously the lifestyle that I live will be a healthier meal, but you'll be able to enjoy the meals that you're eating and the recipes that you have without having to have inflammation, without sitting here developing gout, without you developing kidney disease and liver disease, and you having a fatty liver, heart problems, high blood pressure, because that's what you're doing. You're sitting here eating your free-range chicken eggs and all these different things that they market to you, because that's all it is marketing. Not realizing the fact that eggs are the #1 lead for you to sit there and develop high blood pressure, high cholesterol. But you don't put two and two together, because you have to have your eggs in the AM, because that's a good protein source and it's good for you. And if you're a muscle head that works out all the time, you eat raw eggs and all these different things, but you don't realize that you're leading yourself to high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Make it make sense. We're not taught these things, but we don't do any research for ourselves to be able to help ourselves. We get told these things and we sit there and want to argue with the person that's telling you, like, hey, you can help yourself heal and you can be healthy. It all takes you just sitting here and stop doing this. Do you realize they lied to you in X, Y, and Z? And then you want to argue with your opinion because you've been trained with your opinion. Well, the Got Milk campaign said that it gives me protein when I drink milk. It gives me strong bones. But here they are now. What, like over 20 years later, telling you that they lied to you and that they used it as marketing, and you're still arguing the fact that is not fact. The marketing. You're arguing the ads that they showed you in front of your face. They told you. They literally told you in front of your face, because I'm like, they've had many different articles on top of the scientific journals that came out, like all these New York Times and everybody else that loves to sit there and, y'all love to quote them when it has something convenient for you. But when it has something that you're like, well, they told me this, now you're sitting there like, oh, I don't believe it. There's facts. It's literally right there in front of your face. They told you. And it's crazy, because not only does it not give you strong bones, but it depletes your bone health. So how are you allowed to market to me and tell me the doctors told you that you can market to me that it gives me strong bones, and you come out 20 years later and you tell me actually it depletes your bones?